Hi there, and welcome to the Qimage Ultimate instructional video on the Driver AI system. The Driver AI system is a feature that's been evolving for the past few versions, and now with the debut of Qimage Ultimate 2023, the Driver AI system is complete, fully functional, and it can actually keep you from having to use your printer driver, such as this driver. You can just make selections on the main screen here, and you can make sure that everything is set optimally without ever using the driver. And this is for Canon and Epson photo printers. Just about every photo printer model from Canon and Epson is covered. HP is not covered because HP drivers expect you to go into the driver and make all changes manually. They don't have that level of integration with the Windows operating system and with other software that Canon and Epson do. So this is a Canon and Epson photo printer feature, and I'd like to show you how it works. First, we have the system turned off here, and we notice there's a little gear button here next to the regular driver properties button. So if we click the gear button, which is Qimage printing options, these boxes come by default checked so that the Driver AI system is working, but I turn them off so that I could show you the difference between working without Driver AI and with Driver AI. So now with the system off, let's take a look at what could potentially happen with your printer driver. A lot of times printer drivers are different among different printers, and you don't necessarily know every setting that you need to make in the driver. So here, let's first take a look at, we have printer profile set to let the driver manage color. So we want the driver to be managing the color of our prints. Well, if we go into the driver and we look under the main tab here and under color intensity, this is for a Canon Pro 100, just as an example. Most of the Canon drivers operate this way. We click set and look at matching. It happens to be correct here because if you want the driver to manage color, you want this set to ICM. But you could make a mistake and you could select none here and click OK. And now if you print, the driver is set to not manage color, but Qimage is set to let the driver manage color. So it's not going to work. And in any other printing software, it'll let you make that mistake. You're going to get dull, washed out prints. Well, you can make the other mistake too. You could select a profile. Let's just suggest profiles here. We're using luster paper. We'll select this luster profile. Okay, now we've selected a printer profile. Well, without Driver AI, you could go in here, and even though it's currently set correct now, this should be on none. And even if you happen to know that this should be none, what if you selected ICM, or ICM was selected before and you didn't realize it? Well, now if we OK that, now the driver is selected to manage color, yet we're having Qimage manage color through this profile. So now you're going to be double profiling. And, let's just go do something even more simple here. Let's take the print quality and put it on standard. And if you're using Qimage, you probably want the best quality you can get because that's what Qimage is known for. Well, you didn't know that and you set this to standard quality, or you went in here and you clicked on custom and you thought 3 was the best when it's actually 1 that's the best. So now I've selected the worst quality and I go to print. Now I have 2 problems. Now the software will be double profiling because you've told both Qimage and the driver to manage color at the same time. That's a typical double profiling error that we've made here, which, any other program you can make this. You have to know this stuff to get the driver to work right. And if you don't, you could make mistakes like this. And we've also made the mistake of not selecting the best print quality. And we probably want that. If you're going to put something to paper and make a final form, you might as well give it the highest quality. So these are the kinds of mistakes that you could make. We could also go in here and make an even worse mistake. We could be fooling with the page layout and maybe we're printing a big print and we don't realize that Qimage handles the size, and we click fit to page here. And we're thinking, well, it makes sense to me because I want the page to be filled with my print. Okay, well now we've got three problems. We have print quality not set to the optimal. We're double profiling, and now our prints are going to be the wrong size. Because Qimage, let's say we have two 5x7s on the page. Qimage will send exactly 5x7 prints to the driver, but now the driver internally is going to override that and scale them. And now we're going to wonder why we got prints that are the wrong color, wrong size, and maybe not the best quality. Maybe they're a little grainy. Okay, well, this is exactly what the driver AI system is made for. The AI implies that you're going to use artificial intelligence so that the machine will make decisions that are typically made by a human. Well, usually these drivers are set up to where a prerequisite of using any photo printing software is that you have to know how the driver works. Well, not anymore, because with this driver AI system, and as I said, these checkboxes are normally checked, I'll say out of the box by default. If you check all of these, it means that Qimage is going to manage everything about your driver, and you never even have to open the driver in the vast majority of cases. So now we've turned on all the options in driver AI, and we click OK. And now look what happens. We get a little banner that pops up, and if we hold our mouse over this before it fades out, it'll appear longer. It says driver AI has fixed some settings. Now you can click here for more info, and it will give you the info, tell you what it did. Or you can also go over here and just hover over the properties button. It gives you the same thing. Down there on the bottom under the dashed line, it says the driver AI changes that were made for the Pro 100 are, and then there's 3 bullets. It fixed the color management mode, so it fixed the fact that we were double profiling. It disabled driver scaling to prevent sizing issues, and it set quality to 1. Well, let's go into the driver and peek and just see what it did. Like I said, you don't even have to open the driver because it already corrected everything, but just so that I can prove to you what it did, we can go here on the main tab, and here's print quality. Custom is checked, and we had it set to a 3. It's moved it over to a 1. Well, that looks good. Don't have to do anything there. We had color intensity set to the matching here. We had it set to ICM. Well, it corrected that. It put it on none because it knows that we're using a profile. So it fixed that error. What else did it fix? Look under page setup. We had fit to page selected, which was going to mess up our print size. It's moved that back to normal. So it's already fixed everything. And the reason I say you can pretty much stay out of the driver and not even have to use it, you can change your media type, media size, the source, what tray it's coming from, and all these things right here on the main window without opening the driver. Let's say we have some new paper. We want to use Glossy 2 paper. We just select the paper here, and automatically when we select the paper, it says driver AI fixed some settings. What did it fix? Well, I'm just going to use the hover method. Hover over this button. It fixed the color management mode because for that paper, we haven't identified a profile yet. So it's going to select ICM in the driver, which it did, and it set quality to 1. So the driver AI says, I'm going to give you the best quality. I'm going to make sure your color management mode is set properly. So you really don't even have to open this driver unless you want to do something like borderless or some specialized functions in the driver. You really don't even have to use it, and you can be sure that you're going to get the optimal quality prints without having to go into the driver and think to yourself, okay, what do I have to check here? I guess I should check print quality, and that's on this tab. Click set here, click this to make sure that the color matching is right. And did I remember everything? And maybe you've forgotten that this was set to fit to page or scaled, which it shouldn't have been. So you don't have to do any of that, and Qimage takes care of it. That's the AI part of the driver AI system. But it goes even further than that. And let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to go in here first and turn these settings off. Otherwise, it's going to fix these errors before I can even show you. But I'll go to, let's say, the Pro 2000 here. And Pro 2000, I'll just open the driver with the driver defaults. And in the driver, I'll select some photo paper here, like Pro Platinum. And, you know, it doesn't really matter how I set this up for what I want to show you. Let's say I used a feature like thick and fine lines. Well, you shouldn't be selecting that because Qimage is doing high quality interpolation already, and you don't want to mess that up. But I'll check it anyway, even though we're not supposed to. So that's one error that I'll make. And let me just get out of the driver now, and I'll show you. This is what I meant about you don't have to go into the driver. Let's say that this is what came up to begin with. This user-defined size is always the bottom print size here. So I can drop down media size, select user-defined, and I can say, well, I got a 24-inch roll, and for this I want 48 inches. Now remember, Qimage has auto roll length as well, so you don't even have to set a length manually. You can have it do it automatically, so that based on how many prints you have on the page, it'll automatically change the roll length to match. But right here, I want to just show you what happens. 24 by 48, and I click the check to accept that. All right, it looks good. It's not borderless, so I get slightly less because there's some non-printable margins. That looks fine. Almost 24 by 48. This is what I would expect. 600 ppi. This means that the driver, the Canon driver, is running at 600 ppi. Everything looks good. But now, as an end user, I'm just thinking, all right, for this job, I want a little bit longer roll. I want 60 inches. So I'm just going up 12 inches. And I want you to pay attention to this 600 by 600 here. The driver is running at 600 ppi with a roll length of 48 inches. But as soon as I change this to 60 inches and click this checkbox, look what happened. I have the right size paper, almost 24 by 60, but now the PPI says 300. And I don't know why it did that. Why did it dumb down the size to 300? And if I go even longer with the length, it'll eventually move that down to 200 ppi, and you'll get really blocky prints. And I'm scratching my head asking myself, why is the driver reducing the resolution that the driver is running at? And I don't know the answer to that, but driver AI does. So if we go in here and turn on the driver AI system, let's just turn everything back on like we would normally run it. And before I click OK, watch this 300 by 300 here. When I click OK, goes up to 600 by 600. So now we have full resolution, and we see that driver AI has fixed something. If we hover over this, it'll show you what it fixed. It fixed the color management mode. It put that in the correct ICM mode because we're in Let Printer Driver Manage Color. It set the quality to 2, which is the highest for this paper. It set fine zoom to no to ensure full resolution regardless of page size. Well, driver AI knows that that is the setting that causes Canon wide format drivers to dumb down the resolution when you go long on the page length. And it also unchecked, remember when we were in the driver, we checked that thick and fine lines option. And I said we didn't want that because we want the best interpolation. Well, it unchecked that for us. Let's go in the driver and see. Yeah, it unchecked thick and fine lines. Under the color settings here, we can go to matching, and ICM is selected, which is correct because we want the driver to manage color. But this is the thing, this dumbing down the resolution, this is something that most people would never find. You have to click on the Layout tab, and you have to know what it does too. So you click on the Layout tab, you click on Special Settings, and this setting right here, if this setting is on auto or yes, then the driver has that, I guess they would call it a feature, where it dumbs down the resolution, where the longer you go on the page length, the less resolution you get. And we don't want that with Qimage, because Qimage can manage the job in such a way that you can print really long page lengths without overwhelming the driver. So we might as well print in full resolution. So that is another, I mean, we can set it back here. And again, this is the beauty of the driver AI system. Let's turn it back on. We'll set fine zoom back to auto and accept that. And here it comes again. Driver AI has stepped in and fixed the problem. And what did it fix? We'll hover over this button, set fine zoom back to no. So it won't let us do it. It won't let us make a mistake. Now, again, these are the settings. You click on the gear here. You could uncheck these boxes here and force it to allow you to make mistakes if you want to, but I don't know why anyone would. If you just want to take manual control and that's the way you like things, they are optional. So I'm just pointing that out. One final thing here I want to point out is that you can go into the driver and make a change like, let's find borderless. Turn borderless on, and it didn't give you the little click and it didn't say that it fixed anything, but this check on the properties button here is gray now. The reason that is gray is because it has a hint. And if you look at the hint, these bottom bullets are telling you to disable borderless unless you really need it. And it's also warning you that the borderless expansion will cause the driver to scale prints. So it's just giving you a hint and kind of putting you on notice that you really should only use borderless if you really have to, because it comes with these two bullets here, these little disclaimers. So if you want to, if you don't really need borderless, you can go back in here and turn it off. And that gives you the blue check. And the blue check means everything checks out, you're good to go. Don't really have to open the driver. Okay, on to one last printer. And I'll show you this because this happens so often that this was the inspiration for the driver AI system. I have so many people that are caught by this Epson pothole in the driver that I'll show you what happens. In the driver, let's just open the driver here. Under page layout, many new users, and even if you're just new to Epson, you're a pro with Canons or HPs or something else, you just got a new Epson, you're not familiar with this, people see output paper here and they're tempted to think, well, I should set that. I have 8.5 by 11 paper. I should set that to 8.5 by 11. Makes sense, right? Output paper is 8.5 by 11. Same as paper size. Well, they don't notice that that automatically put a check in this box for reduce and enlarge when you did that. That means that the driver is going to take over and make your prints the wrong size. So they click OK, and now they've got a problem. And when they put two 5x7s on the page and try to print it, they're not going to get 5x7s. Qimage sent the correct size, exactly 5x7, but now the driver is overriding that internally and scaling it, and you're going to get the wrong size prints. Well, with the driver AI system active, you can't make that mistake. When you click OK, after making the mistake, it says, no, I corrected a mistake. And again, this says click for more info. You can hover here. If you click here, it's just going to show you the same thing that you get when you hover over this button. If you prefer to see it this way, you can look at it like that too. It disabled driver scaling. All right, well, that's what it should have done because that was the mistake we made. But let's go back in here and prove it. Yep, sure enough, the check is gone out of this box now, and it's set back to same as paper size. This should always be same as paper size. Otherwise, you're going to get the wrong size print. Qimage will send the correct size, but you're going to get the wrong size because the driver is scaling it, artificially. And same as the Canon, when we did the thick and fine lines, there are options in the Epson drivers here that we should not be using when we have a software like Qimage Ultimate here that has, premium scaling algorithms. We shouldn't choose band-aids like this in the driver, like optimize enlargement, because what this does is it tells Canon that you're sending it a really low resolution image, so try to smooth it out a little bit. No, we don't want to do that because Qimage does a much better job and it's already done that. But let's make a mistake and check that anyway, which would actually make your print quality worse. Click OK, and driver AI says, no, I stepped in and fixed something. What did it fix? Disabled optimized enlargement. We want Qimage to do the interpolation. So you can see how powerful this is. You really can't make a mistake with an Epson or Canon printer when you're using this system. And just to drive it home one last time, let's select a different printer. It doesn't have to be a pro printer. It could be a EcoTank 8550. See, we didn't get any clicks to tell us that it had to change something, so we already know everything is correct in the driver. If we go into this driver, we know that the quality is going to be set to the highest. We have a profile here, so the color matching is going to be set on no color adjustment for an Epson. We already know all that's done, but if you want to prove it, open it up, go in here, and we can see that the quality is already set to the highest, which is high. So that was correct. And under the color here, we have to go on the More Options tab to look at the color. And it has, on color correction, it's already selected custom. And if we click on advanced, it has checked no color adjustment, which is what you want when you're using a profile. So we know all of that is done. And again, even if you try to go in and make a mistake, let's make both of those mistakes. I'll set this to draft quality, and I'll go in here and I'll put this on ICM. Now it's going to double profile. Click OK. Driver AI says, I got your back. I fixed the problems that you just created. What are they? Fix the color management mode and set the quality to high. So I hope you enjoy these features, and it makes printing a lot easier. I know that a lot of times, even if I'm pretty sure that for this paper, I had already gone in and set the quality. Let's go back to the Canon just a second here. It's down here, Pro 100. Even if I'm pretty sure I already did it, I'll still go back in here and I'll double check this print quality, make sure I've dragged it all the way over to the finest, the highest quality, and I might go and check the page setup and make sure one of these scaling options is not turned on. And there's a lot of other options that I didn't cover too. This covers dozens and dozens of options, even stuff as obscure as under the printing options here. If you have prevention of print data loss set to on, then you don't get the maximum quality. But if we try to do that, driver AI steps in, it's got your back, turned off prevention of print data loss to ensure full resolution. So you can always be sure that you're getting the optimal quality prints and that you have all the settings right, even if you're using a new printer or a new paper. As long as this check here is blue, it means there's no hints and everything is set correctly. And this gear here being blue means that your driver AI system is on and you have at least some of these options checked. But I would recommend leave all four of these checked so that you can make sure that there aren't any holes in the process and that Qimage is allowed to use the full AI system to get to all of the driver settings. So thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoy the features and happy printing.